As Chapter 5 just released, the fandom is asking still who the knight is, for like the 5th time now. And I think I found it. You might think it's Des, Carol, maybe even Papyrus. But it's none of them, because I think the knight is Berdly's brother. And there's one detail about Berdly that makes this way more interesting. When Berdly enters the Dark World, he isn't confused. Think about it for a moment. Chris is confused, Susie is confused, Noelle is confused. Everyone has to figure out what this place even is. But Berdly? He just accepts it. Like, he already knows what a Dark World is. At first, you could just write this off as Berdly being Berdly, but then you remember something. Berdly has a brother, and we know basically nothing about him, which is exactly the kind of character Toby could hide something important behind. Because, look at the Knight for example. They're not huge, they're not some gigantic monster, they're relatively small, and they can fly. And Berdly's brother being connected to him suddenly makes those details a lot more interesting. But there's an even bigger reason I think this could work. Berdly's entire personality revolves around proving himself. He's constantly trying to be the smartest, the strongest, the most impressive person in the room. And that makes a lot more sense if there's someone he's comparing himself to, his brother. Someone who could have been everything Berdly wanted to be. And if that person disappeared, Berdly could be spending his entire life trying to fill that gap. But here's where the theory gets crazy. What if his brother didn't disappear? What if he's been in the Dark World this entire time? What if Berdly isn't impressed by the Dark World because it's new to him, but because it's familiar? That would explain why his reaction is so strange. And it would also explain why the Knight feels so different from everyone else. Because the Knight isn't just some random person who discovered the Dark World. They know how it works. They know how to create a fountain. They know how to move between Dark Worlds. And if Berdly's brother has been doing this for a long time, then Berdly might have unknowingly been giving us clues about him since the beginning. But there's one problem. Why would Berdly's brother even become the Knight? And honestly, I think that's the most interesting part. Because maybe he didn't become the Knight to destroy the world. Maybe he had a reason. Maybe he wanted something. Maybe he lost something. And that would fit Deltarune a lot better than a random villain reveal, because we've already seen the Dark Worlds are connected to people's lives, their fears, their dreams, their regrets. So, if the Knight is someone from Berdly's life, there's probably a reason they're doing all of this. And suddenly, the question isn't, who is the Knight? It's, what happened to Berdly's brother? And if that answer is saying somewhere in the game, we might have been looking at the wrong character this entire time. Because maybe the Knight was never supposed to look familiar. Maybe we're supposed to realize they're familiar to Berdly.